Hi, so tonight I'm going to be telling you about PODD, which stands for Pragmatic Organisation and Dynamic Display. So pragmatic refers to the ways that we use language socially, and organisation means the words and symbols arranged in a systematic way. And dynamic display just means it changes pages over time. So what is PODD? PODD was developed in Australia by a speech therapist called Gail Porter. She spent about 20 years getting it right before she published it, so she kind of ironed out all of the problems that there might have been before she set it up. The real aim is to allow immersion in a symbol communication environment for modelling and learning. So lots of other things, so PECs, for example, all of the onus for PECs comes from on the student. They have to start it, they have to learn how to do it by doing it all themselves, where PODD is very, very different, and actually it relies heavily on the staff doing the modelling so that the students learn how to use it, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it. It allows for a lot more than just what do you want and what's wrong. It actually has opportunities to comment, ask questions, say things, all of those things that you can't do quite so easily with some of the other communication aids. It works really, really well. There are different formats of PODD depending on who you are and what you need. So there are specialist ones for people with vision issues, people with problems with pointing, and they come in different sizes. So you start with simple 1-page opening and can go up to 2 or 3 page opening with about 100 words per page. So there is lots of room to grow and lots of options for people who can't access it by pointing. It's a tool for communication that you use alongside other things. So you wouldn't just use it by itself, you use it alongside your signing, your total communication, and use it alongside other symbols and things. So it's a tool to communicate, not the be all and end all. PODD is an all the time communication strategy. So it actually looks at using it everywhere all the time. Which is very interesting because that's not how lots of the other ones work. It's not just for snack time, as some others like PECs get a bit stuck in certain places. And PODD can assist speech development because you've got symbols that they point to. If they want to name those as well, that's absolutely fine. If they can't or they don't want to, then you can do it. So why was PODD developed? PODD was developed because Gail Porter realised that there was a big issue with how symbol communication was done. So a person who has speech is able to choose from thousands of words that they've got in their head that they've heard around them all day, every day. And PODD aims to allow that to be as true as possible for AAC users as well. So that's what makes it different. So in things like PECs and other communication books, if we restrict the vocabulary of a person who's using AAC, how can we be sure what they're capable of? Which is why the PODD book is so big. If we don't give them the words, an opportunity to use the words, and we don't give them the words, then how do we know that they don't know them? Which is why the book is huge and quite daunting. So PODD's great because it allows someone to learn symbol aided communication. How can someone know how to communicate using symbols if you don't show them? How can someone know how to use a book full of symbols if you just hand it to them and say, what do you want? I used to do it. I'm really embarrassed that I used to do it. I realise now that you have to model it and you have to teach it if they're going to learn it. PODD allows a wide range of communication functions as well as a large vocabulary, so you can do things, you can say what's wrong, you can say that you've got a problem, you can give an opinion on things, you can ask questions, you can comment on things, you can say I want to do something, you can talk about activities, you can talk about going places, all of those things that are much harder with an old-fashioned communication book. The overall aim of PODD is that the person achieves autonomous communication, so that they would be able to say anything to anyone, anywhere, any place, anytime. And that is the aim of PODD, to give them that autonomous communication. The book functions on a smart partner operating system. This is what Gail Porter calls it, and that's you. You are the smart partner operating system. You are able to observe and problem solve during an interaction. Something that an iPad can't do. If I touch an iPad screen and I happen to touch the wrong bit of it with another part of my hand that isn't my finger, it doesn't know that that's not what I meant to press, and it goes to that bit. Me, as a smart partner operating system, I would know that that's not where they're pointing. I would know that maybe I would know the context. I would know maybe what they were trying to say, or have some idea of what they were trying to say, and I would have that knowledge and that problem solving ability to not just go with the first thing that they touched. I might be able to ask questions and draw things out of them. So very important. That's all the background to PODD, which is all very interesting. But what you really want to know is, how do you use it? Because everyone panics when they see it. It's a big book. It is quite scary when you see it, but it's really, really easy, I promise. Okay, so how to use PODD. First things first, use their PODD to talk to them as much of the time as you possibly can. Modelling it is really important. You can't learn to talk if no one talks to you. You wouldn't learn to sign if no one signed to you. So it's really important that you communicate with them using it as much of the time as you can. Easiest way to do that is to take the book everywhere. Please don't leave it on desks, in bags, on pegs. It's no good there. They can't use it to talk, and more importantly, you can't use it to talk to them if it's there. And if you can't take it somewhere, like in the swimming pool, you need to have an effective alternative. And if you can't think of what that is, please do come and see me and we'll find something. So, PODD. I have one here. So this is a 9 per page. This is the simplest PODD book that you can get. This is a 9 per page PODD book. It's not the extended functions. This is just a simple one so that I can give you an idea of what we're looking at. So this is PODD. Always start on the first page of PODD. Most important thing, always start on the first page. This is, down here you'll see you've got numbers, so we've got 1A and 1B. 1A and 1B are your chat pages. They are things you might want to say quickly without diving into the whole book to find it. Okay, so there is no flicking required. If someone is flicking, it's okay to say it's not for fiddling with. In fact, Gail Porter talks about putting it outside of the fiddle zone. So if they can't easily reach it, they can't fiddle with it. It's for communication, it's not for fiddling with. So you always start on the first page, which has some quick chat things, as you can see. We've got I, do, me, mine, uh-oh, I don't know, more, finished, help, more to say, hurry up and turn the page. And on 1B, on this one, we've got please, thank you, I need to go to the toilet, I'm sorry, excuse me, goodbye, stop, wait, go away, and I love you. So if what you want to say isn't here, what we need to do is say, I've got more to say. This is often what you're going to do. You're going to go to this one. Now this number in the corner up here, very simple. That means that tells you where to go. So when I say it's easy, the book does tell you exactly what to do. So this is a number 2. So we go to page 2. Okay. And that says, it tells you on the tab at the bottom that we're on page 2. I apologise, this is backwards to you guys. I will see if I can flip it when I edit it later. So we're on page 2. Page 2 gives you your sentence starters, your branches. What this does is this gives you the starting point of what you want to say. So let's go somewhere. I want something. I like it. I don't like it. Something's wrong. Again, the boxes in the corners tell you where to go, which place to go to in the book. We've got questions, we've got college stuff, and we've got I need to go to the toilet, and we've got I want to do something. Okay, so there's no one size fits all approach to using PODD. My suggestion would be, don't be scared of it. It's okay to make mistakes and just have a go. That might sound strange, but we all make mistakes every day when we're communicating. It's okay to make a mistake, and actually we need to show our students that it's okay to make a mistake as well. So this is what makes PODD quite different. So if I can only point to one picture and that picture is shop, you don't know whether I'm saying I want to go to the shops, or I don't want to go to the shops, or do you remember when we went to the shops, or I have an idea about the shop, or let's pretend shops. With the PODD book, especially the ones with more symbols on it, it's got all of those options. We've got let's pretend, we've got I want to go, we've got I don't like it, all of those things. So it actually gives you a lot more scope in your communication. So on this side, let me just see if I can find one that's actually got, here we go. So on this side of the page, we've got a go back, and oops, this is I've made a mistake and I need to try again. And that's okay, we use that one. And this is a categories. So categories is if you can't find what you want on here, or you're stuck, or you're not quite sure what they want to talk about, you can go to categories. So categories, it's easy to find. It's the only one that comes all the way to the left side of the page. So that's quite nice. Go there, got categories. This has got all of the things in there. So we've got activities, special things, people, actions, descriptions, places, all of those things. So there should be a link, and again the number is in the box in the corner. That will tell you which tab to go to. Okay, so for example, we'll go back to the beginning. I can't find the beginning, that's why you don't fold the pages back. Go back to the beginning. So I'm going to say I've got more to say. I want to do an activity, or I want. That takes me to 11, okay? On 11, which I turn to 11, I've got choices of activities I could do. Eating and drinking is an activity. This is the one that confused me to start with. I couldn't find eating and drinking. It's an activity. You do, it is an activity. So I want something to eat or drink. And then you would go to 18. This book doesn't have a section 18 because it's not big enough yet. But if you wanted to do an outside activity, you could go to 11. Oh, I haven't got that one either. Go to 11D and it would give you some choices for some outside activities. So yeah, that's basically it. The book tells you what to do. Don't try and outthink the book because it doesn't work. I've been doing this for 2 years now and I can tell you outthinking the book is not a good idea. But yeah, making mistakes is fine. So, and also, one thing I do need to tell you, so if we go to there's something wrong, this is a great page. It helps us to know if they've got a problem. So we've got I'm sick, and this number in the corner again is body parts, so it tells you what's wrong with them. I've got hurt, sore or pain somewhere, I'm uncomfortable, I don't like it, and health. So health has things that relate to the student, so each book is individualised. I make these for individual students, and if I've made any mistakes, please do forgive me and let me know because I can update them and change them. And those things take you through to other places. So they can say, I'm tired, I don't want to do it, I'm angry. So this is there's something wrong. And on the bigger books, the ones with more things on, you can make a whole sentence using one page. So you've got the I, me, mine. Obviously, this one we don't. So, have we got one here? No. So the smaller books, they're harder to use in some ways. Almost, the bigger the book, the more words you've got, the easier they are to use. That's what I've found. And if, like I said, if you get it wrong, it doesn't matter. They do look daunting, they do look scary, but they're really not if you have a go and try it and see how it goes. And if you have problems, do come back to me. Remember that it doesn't matter if you get in a muddle and you get stuck. That's what the oops button's for. Practice makes perfect, and just don't be scared of it. It's a really lovely communication tool, and with lots of our students we're finding it really, really helpful. So have a go and see what you think.